Welcome back to CBS News Mornings. I'm Anne-Marie Green, and you are looking at live pictures from Gaza following another round of Israeli airstrikes. Israeli officials say fighter jets hit more than 200 targets overnight. Hamas said at least 30 people were killed in the strikes. According to Israeli and Hamas officials, at least 2,100 people have been killed on both sides since Saturday. The U.S. confirmed at least 14 Americans are among the dead and more than 20 are missing. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is traveling to Israel and will arrive Thursday for meetings with senior officials to discuss aid for the nation and the hostage negotiations. Meantime, President Biden reiterated America's support for Israel during remarks at the White House yesterday.
We stand with Israel. We stand with Israel. And we will make sure Israel has what it needs to take care of its citizens, defend itself, and respond to this attack. There's no justification for terrorism.
This all comes as a shipment of American ammunition arrived in southern Israel last night. So joining me now from Israel is CBS News reporter Haley Ott to give us a sense of how things have been going. So Haley, let us know what things are like right now, but also what's been happening, say, over the last 12 hours or so.
Good morning, Anne-Marie. Yes, Israeli airstrikes on Gaza continued overnight, as did rocket fire from Gaza into the south of Israel. And those Israeli reservists that have been called up, around 360,000 of them, have continued to report for duty, and troops are massing on the border with Gaza in the south of Israel for what we aren't sure but expect could be a major ground operation in the Gaza Strip.
We know that at least 14 Americans are among dozens of hostages captured by Hamas. What is the latest on the efforts to find and free them?
14 Americans have been killed, and we actually don't know the number who have been taken hostage. And that is a great concern to the United States. They've said they do everything in their power to support Israel by providing experts in hostage negotiation. There are over 100 people, which is believed, that have been taken hostage by Hamas in that horrific attack that took place on Saturday, and their fates remain unknown. Hamas has threatened to execute one hostage each time that Israel attacks civilians in Gaza without giving advance notice, and obviously the airstrikes that are being carried out on Gaza and any potential upcoming ground operation could have safety ramifications for those hostages as well.
I mean, are there concerns now at this point that the conflict could expand beyond these borders, right, to the wider region? We're hearing about the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah becoming involved in the fighting.
Yes, obviously the majority of the fighting has been taking place in the south of Israel near Gaza, but there has been exchanges of fire in the north in Lebanon between Hezbollah militants and the Israeli army. 3 militants have been killed in that fire so far, and three Israeli soldiers have also been killed. Hezbollah is Lebanon's most powerful military force, and there is real concern that things could escalate on that northern border. The United States has warned Hezbollah not to get involved in this conflict, but obviously we're going to have to see what happens in the coming days.
And just the current situation in Gaza?
Gaza has been pummeled by airstrikes. We are seeing reports of entire neighborhoods that have been leveled. The United Nations says around 200,000 people have been displaced. That's in addition to obviously the over 1,000 now that we've heard people who have been killed in these attacks. And today, the Minister of Health in Gaza said that in the next 24 hours, every single hospital in Gaza is going to run out of medicine. In these morning hours, we're expecting the only power plant in Gaza to run out of fuel and no longer be able to operate. So there is a real humanitarian crisis unfolding as well in Gaza.
It is heartbreaking all around. Haley, thank you so much. So the IDF says ammunition from the U.S. will help strike back and protect the country's air defense, also known as Iron Dome. Israel says the anti-missile system has about a 95% accuracy rate, but it was overwhelmed this time due to the sheer number of rockets fired. David Martin takes a look at how the anti-missile system works.
Israel says Hamas has launched more than 4,500 rockets, many of them intercepted by the Iron Dome air defense system. It has kept the death toll from going even higher. President Biden promised to send more interceptors manufactured by Raytheon at about $50,000 each.
We're surging additional military assistance, including ammunition and interceptors, to replenish Iron Dome. We're going to make sure that Israel does not run out of these critical assets.
Iron Dome has been defending Israel against terrorist rockets for more than a decade.
It has been effective, as it typically is, in taking a lot of those rockets out of the sky and saving countless lives by doing so. Now, of course, some rockets have gotten through to tragic cost.
Because the flight time for a rocket is so short, Iron Dome can operate on automatic. As soon as a rocket launch is detected, an alert goes out telling everyone to run for shelter, while Iron Dome launches its interceptors, homing in only on rockets headed toward populated areas. So it doesn't have to fire 4,500 interceptors to shoot down 4,500 rockets?
No, a significant fraction of these rockets are not going to hit anything vital.
Retired General Frank McKenzie, former commander of U.S. forces in the Middle East, says Hamas doesn't really care where the rockets land.
They've got a large stockpile of missiles, and I think we should anticipate the intensity of these attacks to continue for a few days yet.
If Hezbollah, which is based in Lebanon on Israel's northern border, unleashes its stockpile of rockets and missiles as well, Iron Dome could be stretched to the limit. David Martin, CBS News, The Pentagon.
Well, survivors are sharing their harrowing stories during the hours of Hamas's surprise attack. Some have spoken about taking shelter as gunfire erupted around them outside. And that includes 17-year-old Ella Bargil, who lives in a community a little more than a mile away from the border with the Gaza Strip, and she's joining me now this morning. Ella, thank you so much for joining me. My heart breaks for you because you're only 17, and you should be worried about school assignments. You should not be running for your life, but that's exactly what happened. You were not home on Saturday when you looked up and saw rockets, and then you did everything you could to get home. No way you could have known that you were running towards not just home, but towards the location that Hamas fighters were also running to.
You're right. It's like a horror movie to me. It was the scariest thing that ever happened in my life. And I want the whole world to know what's happened there and to support Israel and to stand by us.
You live on a kibbutz. Once you got to the kibbutz, you went to the bomb shelter. But what was it like inside?
You can close it. It's open. Like I took a picture and you can see the lights goes in. It's very scary. You hear gunshots in the entrance. So it was really like a horror movie, and I can't explain it in words how I felt there. It's I feel danger for my life. I don't know how to explain it so everyone know what's happened there, but this is all I can say.
Yeah. You know, we showed a picture of your car, and in fact, when you got to the kibbutz to get out of the car, a missile landed sort of right there, right?
No, one of the terrorists shot at the windows car to steal things in the car. And it's not from a rocket, it's from someone who shot at the window to try to break into the car.
When you were in the bomb shelter, what could you hear outside, and what were you thinking that whole time?
I thought that my life is going to end. I wanted to write to all my friends that I love them and that they don't need to worry. They don't need to worry to me. They need to be safe, and that I will be okay. That I hope I will be okay. Although I heard gunshots right next to me, and conversation in Arabic of terrorists that walking right next to me.
You managed to make it out and get to a friend's home, but once you got there, you heard some heartbreaking news.
Yes, I came to my home, and then only 10 hours after that, they evacuate all my kibbutz to big shelter, and then I saw my friend's mom crying, and then I heard the most horrible news that I ever heard in my life.
That you lost a friend. Yeah, I know. I can imagine how difficult it is. When in living on the kibbutz, were you ever scared for your safety?
I never scared like this. This has never happened to me. Only the rockets in the past years, only this happened, but never terrorists got in my kibbutz and stand right outside of my house. It's never happened to me.
You know, you said that while you were waiting in the bomb shelter, I know your father had arrived with you. He was with you. You were saying that you wanted to let people know that you're going to be okay. You got out and you were safe, but are you okay?
Physically, yes, I didn't get hurt, but mentally, it's destroying my mental health. It's traumatic, and I don't know how to explain it to the world, but it's traumatized in the most hard way that can ever happen to a 17 years old.
Yeah, you're very young. You do not have to be talking to me about this. Is there a message that you want the international community to hear?
I want the world to know what's happened there and the horror movie that my people are going through. And I want the whole world to stand by Israel and to support us.
Ella, thanks for sharing. Take care. To be with your family. I'm happy that you are safe right now, but I know it's going to be a long journey because that was a terrifying experience that you lived through. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, meanwhile, thousands across the U.S. gathered in support of Israel. A large crowd rallied outside the United Nations in New York. Some were seen shouting at a small group of counter-demonstrators that gathered. The gathering, though, remained peaceful. But in Hartford, Connecticut, law enforcement worked to quiet the crowd at a Free Palestine rally where one man was seen being escorted to a police cruiser.